Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Young Guns. We have our special, more mature guest, Walt Proulx, and son, Austin Proulx, both of which are on our shooting team here at Wilson Combat. And today we're going to talk about some long gun stuff. You guys probably won't believe me, but there are people out there that have no idea that we build long guns. And that's surprising to me, kind of how many long guns we've shipped out, that there's still people out there that consider themselves gun enthusiasts or gun guys that don't know that. We do a wide variety of AR-15 calibers, AR-10 calibers. We do an AR-9 carbine that's pretty popular in the shooting sports and PCC. We also work on 870 shotguns, which are great for home defense, and that's a whole nother episode in itself because I love shotguns. We do complete guns, complete uppers. We do accessories. Some of our newer accessories are our Omni scope mounts, which are featured on this rifle, and the vertical variety is on display here. And then we have a 193 variant, which is more of a taller mount, heads up mount. You've probably seen this in some of your law enforcement training.
I've got one on my AR pistol.
You've got one? Okay, yep. What are your thoughts of it?
I like it. Depending on cheekbone structure and the way that you actually mount up on the gun, it can be a lot more comfortable to have a more upright head position. And I prefer it, especially where I'm going to be doing closer, faster engagements. On my long rifle, I've got, a traditional height 1.54 mount, but I like the 193 on the shorter stuff.
The other kind of good application for it is nods or gas mask or something like that, where you can kind of get off the gun still and not lose your eye relief. A lot of applications for that taller mount, and for me, I'm kind of noodle-necked, and I don't have to feel like I'm scrunched up as much, and it just feels more natural to me, even without the other applications that height of mount could be used for. Real durable aluminum designs. They're great mounts. They're easy to install. They don't have 18 different screws on the top or in the bracket itself that attaches to the Picatinny rail. Been real popular for us. You've got some of these on.
I do. I've got several of them. I'm impressed with for how lightweight they are, how robust they are, and damn sure durable. I've banged a few around and they hold up.
Yeah, we're all pretty hard on stuff. But I've got a 1-6 Leupold on kind of my user 5.56, and that thing's fell out of the back of side-by-sides, and no issues with the optic or the mount. Great equipment. One of the other things that has been a good seller for us is our tactical trigger unit, the TTU. It's a fully enclosed housing. It's a drop-in trigger unit. You guys, well, anybody that has a Wilson Combat AR is going to have a TTU of some variety in that AR. What are you guys' thoughts on the TTU?
I love every one of them I've got. I'm a single stage guy. Yep. I know a lot of people like the two stage where they like to come up against that wall, but as we've discussed in the past, I'm purely a 1911 guy, and I like my rifle to shoot just like my handgun, and that's as close as I can get to a 1911 trigger in a rifle.
I'm a fan. I've got a single stage in my rifle. I mean, I've got the same lower that I swapped two uppers between, and I've shot the two stages and I like them, but I've wound up with a single stage and I've been happy with it. I really don't have much of a preference, but I like the one that I've got.
Yeah, the thing that I like about ours, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a homer, but it's the efficiency of installation. It is a one-piece unit that truly does just drop in. You don't have to remove the grip and get the spring tension off the selector and move the selector to get this to drop in. The quality of the parts are like anything that we manufacture here. Quality materials are used. There's no MIM or stamp parts in this. It's all pretty much wire EDM or milled or both, depending on the part. And then the design of it being fully enclosed, I don't know if you guys have messed with those multi-piece kind of mill.
Yeah.
Those things get away from you in a hurry. They're kind of hard to install if you're swapping those out. But the TTUs are easy to service. Maintenance is minimal, if any. The pins that we design, that we ship with each one of these units, you don't have to worry about those backing out, and there's not additional screws to have to hold everything together, or worry about putting Loctite on and worrying that you put too much Loctite and it's going to drain into this thing and freeze everything
Lock
up.
it up.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're robust, they're simple, and they're extraordinarily well made. That just handle one, the build quality is just immediately evident when you get one in your hand.
And one of the neat things about this design that you don't see a whole lot is it does have a half cock setting, which is an added layer of safety, where you're at half cock, and a lot of other trigger units for ARs out there don't have that half cock feature. And being able to put it in the half cock position also gives you a little bit more wiggle room to fish that thing down and inside the selector.
Yeah.
Really brilliant design. Bill and our engineers knocked this one out of the park. There's 8 different units, 3 single stage, 5 2-stage. We've got 2 units that are completely DLC covered. They're the enhanced trigger unit, the ETUs, both great units, and then the TTUs. We have various weights depending on your application or what you like. So again, kind of trying to customize the AR platform for the user and what their application is.
And how long has the TTU unit been on the market?
It's been on the market for at least 14 years.
Okay. I remember relatively near the beginning of when that came out, and it just seems like it's sort of been forever at this point.
Right.
And to this day, I'll let people shoot my ARs, and they'll remark about the trigger, and they'll say, "Whose trigger is that?" And I'll say, "Well, it's one that came with the rifle." "Yeah, but who makes it?" "Wilson Combat makes it." "Well, how long have they been making those?" I said, "For as long as I can remember." So it's a well-kept secret, but they're amazing.
Yep. And when we go to trade shows, we take some of these trigger testers with us, and people that come by the booth. It's a super easy way for them to kind of feel the pull and the reset and see the design and see the mechanics of it. And we sell a lot of these units at trade shows for people being able to pick that up and actually work the trigger unit and feel it, and they're walking out with it.
Yep.
And you can probably have to check it, but you can fly home with it.
One of the keys to accurate rifle shooting is a quality trigger. And for the longest time, ARs notoriously had bad triggers.
Right.
And almost like magic, as soon as we started putting good triggers in ARs, all of a sudden ARs became more accurate. And some other things were done for sure to enhance that as well, but that's a big part of it.
It is, and because of design changes and kind of honing in on critical features of the gun, like the trigger unit itself, you're starting to see more and more gas guns, AR platform style guns used for hunting weapons, used in even PRS matches where traditionally you see bolt actions, and yes, there's a separate division. And there's another new kind of long gun competition out there that you guys might know something about, where these guns might be applicable for also.
Yeah.
Tell us about UHRC.
So UHRC is the Ultimate Hunter Rifle Competition, and it is a hunting-based rifle sport. We've been avid hunters since, I've been going out since I was old enough to stand on the front seat and see over the dash. And we're obviously competitive shooters, so we kind of wanted to morph both of those worlds into one thing. And we had bought, well-made custom long-range hunting rifles, and being competitive shooters, we looked to NRL, PRS, the existing long-range rifle competitions, and found that we ran into a pretty substantial barrier of entry because of gear. There's a certain amount of stuff you got to spend and buy and get kitted up with to be competitive at the ranges they shoot and at the target sizes they shoot at. So we basically approached rifle competition from the standpoint of how do we relate it back to hunting more closely for the stuff that we really see in the field and the shots we see people taking frequently. How do we relate it to what 90% of the hunters in the country already own? Because if we make it a sport where when people take the stuff they already have out there, if they can still be competitive with that, then we're going to get a lot more people if they don't have to buy their way into it or buy anything really to go out there and be competitive. So that's how we approached it, and we also added a time element into the scoring.
Okay. You can't sit out there all day.
Well, it's hit factor scoring, like we see in some of the pistol sports, and tying it back to the hunting. Most every hunting circumstance, two things are critically important: an accurate shot, but an accurate shot quickly. I mean, how many times have we watched an animal take that last step into the brush because we weren't quite ready quick enough, or another animal moves in front of it? Yeah, exactly.
Guilty.
So it combines the prime elements of a successful hunting trip, and that is obviously you want to get a first shot hit every time you can. So accuracy is critical.
Yep.
Secondary element is getting it done quickly. So our sport, every target you shoot at, if you miss, it loses half of its point value. So when you re-engage it, not only have you eaten up more time, but much like having to re-engage an animal, you may have injured it, so you should be probably penalized a little bit,
Yeah,
So
good point. You're telling me that you two dreamed up a whole new shooting sport because there wasn't enough of them out there.
It didn't just happen in one dream. We've actually been talking about this over many road trips and airplane flights since 2017.
But you can basically show up and compete with pretty much what you already have as a hunter or pretty much any long gun.
If you're a big game or varmint hunter, or even just most sport shooters, you can show up with your hunting pack, your hunting rifle, binos, rangefinder if you use those, and be competitive if you're a good shooter with your gear.
And gas guns?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay. Bolt action.
Yep.
See any lever guns?
We have
Actually. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep, we have big game and varmint, which is a caliber break.
Yep.
And then we have optics and irons.
Yep.
And modern and classic. So modern and classic, this would be a modern optic because it has drop compensation turrets and or a reticle. So classic would be no knobs, just a duplex, or no range finding or drop compensating reticle.
Gotcha.
Your old 270 Winchester with a loophole 2-7 duplex.
So really, anybody that hunts almost certainly already has what they need in the gun safe to go play this sport.
Okay.
And it's definitely more about your skill at shooting than it is about what toy you bring to the party.
Right.
So we see everything from 60-year-old 30-06s with a old Weaver duplex scope on it, up to and including chassis guns in modern calibers with really, really high-end optics.
3-gun competitors.
Absolutely. And exclusively, the victor in all of the categories is always the person who puts all of the elements together, regardless of the platform that they're using.
Right. So per buzzer, you're engaging one target, and then do you move to another location before engaging on that same buzzer run?
So we have a standardized stage format.
Okay.
Start your time, and every stage will have 3 targets. There's a close, a medium, and a far target.
Okay.
The close target is always between 100 and 200.
Yep.
The intermediate target is between 200 and 350.
350.
And then the far target is 350 to 500.
Okay.
They're always 12-inch by 12-inch diamonds.
Represents the kill zone on a deer.
Yeah, any big game animal in North America, from a coos deer to a moose, if you can put a well-placed round into that 12-inch square in the right spot on the animal, it's a vital shot.
Okay.
So it's one total elapsed time for a stage, and it's all 3 targets.
Okay. So for one beep, you're at minimum putting 3 rounds down.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was going to ask, does anybody have a set big enough that you've seen show up with a Ruger number 1?
They could do it.
They could,
For sure.
but if it was a one shot per buzzer, that'd be a high level of confidence. And
That's
I would be
absolutely
impressed
true.
by that.
So yeah, they get
Pretty cool if they
180-second
did.
par time, and if the time expires before you've hit the last target, then your time is done. We score what points you got,
Right.
and divide the points by the seconds. It's points per second.
Okay.
Ideally, you're going to get done with that thing between 90 and 130 seconds to get all 3 targets. Sometimes it's quicker, sometimes it's slower. It depends on the complexity of the stage that we set up for the shooter. We dictate where they have to shoot from, but how they use what's inside of that shooting area to engage those targets is up to them. They got to solve the problem.
And for the most part, solely natural terrain in regard to what you're using as a rest.
Where we shoot, we've got the benefit of having a pretty good range and quite a bit of natural terrain out at Cameo.
You can see for miles.
Right, and we have a lot of trees and rocks and stuff like that. Sometimes we'll put a 36-inch diameter circle roped off around one juniper tree, and you got to take all your shots from within that circle. And other times we'll have, a 20-foot by 20-foot shooting area and whatever's inside of there. But we definitely left provision in the rule book for parts of the country where you don't have that kind of terrain, like Nebraska.
Right.
How do you do that in Nebraska? So if you want to rope off a couple round bales or the bed of a truck or a shooting blind or a fence post, you can build some creativity into it with those types of props.
Gotcha.
Or go lay a dead log, drag a log out with a tractor or whatever. We made provision to create, man-made obstacles for solving the problem.
But still maybe realistically used in hunting situations in those areas.
That's true.
And even though you guys can see for miles and miles out there, farthest shot?
500 yards.
500 yards.
500 yards is always your maximum, which is not to...
No, that's not... For most people, that's not horribly intimidating either. That as opposed to some of the target distances that you may see in PRS. And
I've got to think that well in excess of 95%, probably in excess of 99% of shots at big game animals are 500 yards and less. Where we live is sort of the notable example, but even there, most people are shooting animals at 300-400 yards at the most. Not that we haven't, engaged farther. But
I've shot a cow at 630. You had a cow at 875.
Yeah.
We're set up to do that. It's not to say that people can't take shots farther than that, and it's not to say that people can't use the gear that we don't allow. We're not trying to say that our parameters for this game are what hunting should be or what is ethical or anything like that. We just wanted to create a game where anyone who hunts could come play and be competitive without having to buy anything extra.
And those are the things that are interesting to me that I think will be very well received by people who figure out what this is and how to be a part of it.
It's a lower barrier to entry, both from a gear perspective and from a marksmanship requirement perspective. Brings it more in line with what you typically see in most hunting situations. And you had touched on it earlier, but we didn't cover it. We also have what we call the Eastern Rule set, where rather than that 100 to 200, 100 to 200, 200 to 350, 350 to 500, we have closer target engagements where the maximum is 300 yards. For example, here in Northwest Arkansas, you may not have areas where you can get clear out to 500 yards, but 300 is certainly more doable in a lot of these conditions.
A lot more representative of the
terrain
situations
here.
you wind up in here. And additionally, even out west, if you've got, whether it's just a piece of property or your range is smaller, then you can run Eastern rules out there. It doesn't have to be run in the East just because it's Eastern rules. If it's just to accommodate these matches on a smaller property with less terrain area, then run them.
The challenge is scaled, but it's still there because of the time element. So just because somebody might say, well, there's no challenge, everybody should be able to hit a target at 300 yards. Well, when you go hunting, how often would you be taking shots at animals that you don't think you can hit?
Right.
You shouldn't be doing it at all.
Right.
So these should all be hittable targets for everybody that goes out there.
Yeah,
it's how quickly you get it done.
Yep. So let's say you get first round hits on every single target. If there's a guy out there that gets first round hits on every single target but does it 1/10 of a second faster than you, he wins.
You lose.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, there's no such thing. There's no such thing.
Much more brutal than what Austin said.
Yeah, you made eye contact too and pointed. That was personal. There's no such thing as a perfect score in this game.
Yep.
Until you can shoot everything first round in 0 seconds, you can do better.
Yep.
So there's always a challenge there.
We're finding that the people that are attending the matches represent a cross-section of the hunting society. We've got a 14-year-old girl that comes out and shoots, and she started shooting with a 300 short mag, by the way.
Yep.
We've got people well into their 70s. We've got people shooting old Winchester and Remington bolt-action rifles. We've got people running gas guns. We've got several people running their PRS chassis guns. And we're finding that the greatest success comes from the people that have some marksmanship skill and some great hunting skill. Probably our best shooter is a really accomplished PRS shooter who also hunts a lot. And so he's getting in
best of both worlds.
He's getting in position very quickly, and he's extraordinarily accurate.
Is he having some difficulties not having some of his bags or tripods?
He's
or
not,
anything?
because he doesn't hunt with those.
Okay. Good point.
He takes his rifle. He might take a bag, but he hunts with his rifle.
Newer sport.
Yeah.
About a year in.
We ran our first match last August.
You can start a club pretty much anywhere. How do you go about trying to find you guys and figure out more information about the sport to set up a club in your area and get a UHRC match held in your area?
So for any information, you go to ultimate-hunter.com. We have instructional videos of us going through a stage. We'll show you what everything is, describing how it works, what things indicate, and then actually a video of me shooting that stage, showing everything how everything works in the process. So all the rules are on there. We have 2 pages on there for starting a club and for becoming a member. Annual membership is $50, and if you want to start a club, it's $150. And this summer, we're trying to get this going. We're really pushing on it, so we're traveling around trying
to start one right here.
Yep, that's one of the reasons we're here.
Yeah, tomorrow. Setting it up in the rain.
That's right.
Yep.
It'll be a fun time. And remember, you can compete with any of, pretty much we sat here and talked about it before we went live. Any Wilson combat rifle can be used in UHRC, and pretty much any rifle that you have out there that you hunt with or just own.
Yep.
Find a match, get a hold of Walt and Austin, figure out how to set up a club and start hosting your own matches. It sounds like a lot of fun, and I can't wait until this weekend when we actually shoot that kind of test run of a match. But
when that beep goes off, it's pretty exciting.
Oh, I guarantee it. It's like shooting handguns under time.
That's right.
Yep. But thanks for sitting in with us. We hope you appreciated kind of the accessory talk, and hope you guys learned some things about UHRC, and we're glad to have Walt and Austin both on set today to tell us about the new game.